Yeah. Here's a smooth groove, and what do I say? I didn't think I was going to start off rhyming today, but you go with the flow. It's a Tuesday afternoon, and I'm a bad bro. Got a Pisces lady, and she's coming in clean, be more clean, and she's stepping on the scene. ElizabethJoseph for 303 episodes, Black History Month with the E. Yeah, knowledge is love, can't you know? Now it's time for me to start the show. Ooh, What's up, y'all? Just wanted to give you a quick little rhyme because I wasn't going to rhyme, but I got a special friend on, so I got to rhyme. Today, I am so excited to share with you on episode 303 of my Knowledge is Love Astrology podcast. We have an author, a colon hydrotherapist, and a holistic practitioner, the amazing Pisces, Miss Elizabeth Joseph. How are you today, my friend?
I'm amazing. Your rap got me in a good mood.
Well, that's what it's all about, because you know and you love and appreciate music and art. We'll kind of get into that because you've got such an eclectic background. But I want to jump right into explain to the audience in terms of the colon hydrotherapy, and you are the owner of Be More Clean and Be More Raw. So what is Be More Clean for the audience so they can understand all that you do?
So, all that I do, it's a lot. So I'm a mom, author, holistic practitioner. I've been working in alternative medicine and functional medicine for about 14 years now, over 14 years now, specializing in gut health and disease reversal. And so colon hydrotherapy is just a really big part of that. It is an integral tool in healing your gut. And quite frankly, it's really a necessary tool. Hey, Evelyn. Hey, Dan. It's really a necessary tool for many therapies and chronic illnesses that you might have. So, IBS, even heavy metal toxicity and mold toxicity really congest the liver. So the colonics really help to relieve that pressure on the liver. You have hormonal issues. You're going to want to shift and look at the liver, cleanse the liver. The liver is what processes those extra hormones.
People talk about the liver. I think we underestimate the power and the function. So explain, because I know as we're sleeping at night, right, each hour kind of represents a different organ, but how important is our liver to our overall gut health, digestion, and just the functionality in our bodies?
I mean, it's so important. And, this is where Western medicine really misses the mark because it's all connected. It's all connected. It's all connected.
Mm-hmm.
You cannot compartmentalize. You can't separate these organs. You can't separate your stress and sleep from your diet, from your kidney function, from your adrenals, from your diet. You just can't. So, it's really, really important for digestion, for your hormones, for you to detoxify just the basic toxins that we're exposed to on a daily basis, right? Which the body can handle to a certain extent. What it can't handle is the overburden, right? When you're spraying your cologne and you're eating toxic foods and you're, cleaning with.
And you got Febreze in the house.
And you have Febreze in the house. You got Glade plugins in the house. Like, oh my gosh, Alana, get up in here. Jolie, what's up? It's so glad to see y'all here.
Hey, guys.
Yeah, man. We're doing $55. If you are local, we're doing $55 train colonics the next few weeks. So, call the office, go to the website and get in. That's more than half price.
Wow. That's so incredible. And yet let everybody know, because I do have, and I actually met at Missy's Metaphysical Shop this weekend, an actual follower of the channel who is local in Arizona. So share your address to where Be More Clean is at.
Absolutely. We're in South Scottsdale. So we're at Scottsdale Road, just south of Thomas, right across the street from Goodwill. And we also just now acquired celestial float spa in Goodyear. So if you're in Goodyear and you have adrenal dysfunction or you're overstressed out, oh wait, yeah, do you live in America? Then you're stressed out. Then you need to come and float. Okay, if you're in the West Valley, come and float. It has helped me repair my adrenals. I recommend it as a therapy for all of my clients that have adrenal
Honey, when you
dysfunction.
say come and float, what does that literally mean? Like, are you?
You are in the therapy is actually sensory deprivation. So what it is it's a tank. Now, if you're brand new, of course, there we offer like intro music and there's lighting options, dim lights. But the therapy itself that has been researched, and there is a lot of data on this, is actually a sensory deprivation therapy. And so you're floating in over 1,000 pounds of Epsom salt in water that has been ozonated. Yes, ozonated, filtered a billion gazillion times with UV and multiple, pH is checked every day. So super, super, super clean water.
Wow.
Do you have a pulse? Yeah, you
Oh,
stress.
I may need to come and levitate and float.
Yes. So you can't flip over, you can't drown, you can't sink. You can only float. And so what it does is it's actually been proven to reduce pain up to 90% by your third float. And I've personally experienced that. It reduces cortisol 25%. Cortisol is that stress hormone, right? I point to the brain, but that's where we get stressed, right? We're not running from bears right now. It also slows down your brain waves. So in about 15 minutes, it is, yes, actually, we see a lot of autistic people really benefit from it. And we have the largest float tank in Arizona. So for people who are autistic or special needs, sometimes they have anxiety doing it alone. Y'all could actually float together.
Whoa, that's super important, especially for moms with their kids.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
incredible.
Yeah. So it slows down the brain. It can reduce, it does, your blood pressure drops after about 15 minutes and then your brain waves slow down. You go into theta brainwave. And so theta brainwave, yes, are associated with meditation, more creativity, greater problem solving. What else? Just like, and then after a longer period of time, it goes into even a deeper slower brain wave. And so this therapy was initially studied because they were looking at different states of consciousness without psychedelics. And so this therapy has been able to achieve that.
Gosh, see, this is why you guys, I have Elizabeth on. I love, number one thing that I love that you do, the way that you can kind of like spit bars, right? I'm an MC, so I like spit bars about health. That's how I am about astrology. And so it's like real,
You are.
recognize real. Like, so I love that. Like your brain is, and now I got to share. You are the Pisces sun, the Libra rising. And I think I remember correctly, you're the Aries moon as well, right?
I have my full chart. You could pull it up. It's actually on people tell me I shouldn't do this, but it's on my Instagram.
No. I don't want to show it.
Okay,
Yeah.
sorry.
But you
Don't go there.
you have Aries moon, Mercury, and I think Venus, right?
I have to look, baby.
Okay.
You don't have to
I remember.
memorize.
I think I'm pretty good. You could check, but that's what's so fascinating about that is that Libra rising is about, being in the marketplace and being harmonious, peaceful, and charming and pleasant to kind of relate to all of your clients and even with your holistic practitioner work. And I want you to share, because we have people who are out of state, but you help people with meal plans and overall nutritional health as well, right?
So I help them with disease reversal and healing their gut, to have happy, healthy bowel movements, skin issues, hormonal issues. And this is all virtual without harmful drugs or surgery.
Oh God. See, and that's what we have to get to. But see, what I love about what you do, it is so Pluto and Aquarius, right? We're dealing with this next 20 years. We're at the pinky toe in the water, the early stages of the age of Aquarius. So we're brave souls that we chose to be here at this time, right? I laugh. If you go down the ladder of everything, we've survived HIV/AIDS, we survived 9/11, we survived COVID. So we're stronger than we think we are, right?
Yeah.
And so you at this time. So let me ask you this. What is coming up next in this space? Even with the colon hydrotherapy, are there new technologies or new things that you're bringing into your business that is kind of either cutting edge or in trial stages that you've researched that maybe if it's not already on your radar, but maybe coming soon that you may implement, like some new technologies or new ways of healing people?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think for me, what I am most proud about and have found is most special is just accumulating and really using all of the information that I have learned. Right.
Mm.
So like I learned about like functional testing over here, but they didn't really do the diet much. Right. There's like a whole raw food community over here, but they don't want to use supplements. And I'm like, what? Like, let's use all the tools that we have. Right. Let's use everything that we
Let's not
have.
discriminate.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like you want the most efficient healing, right? We have to address your stress and sleep. We have to address your trauma and your nervous system, right? So for me, it's really just the culmination and yeah, creating my own protocol. So I work with an amazing naturopathic doctor, Dr. Amalia Bacher. I've known her for over 10 years. She's my son's doctor. She's my doctor. I don't trust any other naturopath. I've been in this world for a long time. She's not paying me. She don't give me no kickbacks. I'm just telling you right now. I've worked with a lot of naturopaths. I've met people with all fancy credentials, and they were asking me for advice because they didn't know what I knew, and they're not getting the results that I'm getting, which is disease reversal, not managing your disease, but reversing it. And she's really the only one that I've seen that has a wide range of knowledge, has a heavy metal chelation certification, so can help you with that, and specializes in PTSD and trauma with breath work and psychedelics. I mean, this is important.
Now that's very kind of Pluto Aquarius cutting edge, right? Everybody's talking about the ayahuasca, microdosing, and different things with psychedelics. So besides mushrooms or ayahuasca, what else could help or play in that? Are there any other things that we're not aware of?
Absolutely, because unfortunately, those are still illegal in most places, right? So legally, we can do, and when I say we, she's doing the psychedelic assisted psychotherapy, right? She specializes in the trauma and all of that. So she does ketamine and cannabis.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty heavy.
Yeah. So you do have to be local for that. So that is in office, right?
Yeah. Definitely. That's in office, and there's a pillow and a blanket in case you gotta like.
Right. Yeah. You're in a calm space. You're in a safe space. And, again, when we talk about healing any type of disease, whether it's cancer or headaches or skin issues, your nervous system has to be in a calm state. Being in fight or flight is inflammatory by nature. Period. It is inflammatory by nature. So calming yourself down, and that's why floating is such an immense therapy accompaniment for any disease that you're worried about, that you're healing, any condition.
Okay, I have one quick little comment / question, and then I want you to, address the chat. We may have some questions, and just read some of the comments. But so you were saying something great about the heavy metals. How beneficial, because I always hear about it and I do it, but how beneficial is drinking chlorophyll daily or, a few times a week to help with, helping to get rid of some of the heavy metals?
It's a great question. So I haven't seen a lot of data on the chlorophyll. The truth is, to know if any chelator is working, you'd have to test. There's no way to know without you testing, period. There just is not a way to know. So chlorella is a binder. I don't know that it's a chelator. So if you've heard differently, go for it. But I would test to see, are you pulling metals out of your body? There are definitely things that you can do on a daily basis, just kind of make sure that you're detoxifying. Colonics is something that you could put into a regular routine, get 3 in a row once a month or 3 in a row twice a month, right? That consecutive is so important. Same thing with the floats, right? Stress, trauma, anxiety is accumulative. It didn't happen overnight, right? You didn't get sick from one burger, one bad meal. It's years. Right?
Unless it was like a super deluxe McDonald's burger, maybe.
Bro, but even
I'm joking.
you know what I mean? I know, right? Though, but if you had a healthy, resilient microbiome in colon, then you might not feel good for a day, but it's not going to take you out or give you dis-ease. You know what I'm saying? Right? So just like the floats with the colonics, you want to do 3 in a row to really see the benefits, right? So yeah, you'd really honestly would have to test. Minerals are really important. Minerals help push metals out. Yeah. So supplementing minerals can be really helpful. But again, to know your levels, I recommend testing. It's not a super expensive test. Like the stool test is a little pricey. It's about $360 to do a full GI map, but it's very thorough, and you get to I can look at your pancreas, your liver, your inflammation, your immune system, and your gut leakiness.
Now, wait a minute. I don't want you just looking at my pancreas. It's very private. I'm joking. So wait. See, I love to make you laugh, but so that's really, you're taking me down so many questions,
Yes, sir.
I promise we're going to come to you guys in the chat, but when you have people, because you're saying the threes, right? Do things in threes and the floating. How long or duration of time is the float machine? How long would I be in there for?
Yeah, so a regular standard float is 1 hour. If it's your first time, we actually recommend you doing a 90-minute because again, most people, we're wound up. I don't know if you can tell, but I'm a little hype. Okay. Not shy.
I thought it was just the Mercury and Aries and
Talk
stuff.
a lot, have a lot of energy. So much like the colonic, I love the colonic. It has so many benefits, but my favorite thing about it is it will show you in real time how toxic you are. You have a ton of nausea, you have a lot of toxins in your body, right? You have gas and bloating, you have an uncomfortable session. That is due to the current state of your colon. It's not the water. Oh, I was gassy after my colonic. It gave me gas. No, the water can't give you gas. Right?
So when you're floating, it's really just the salt and the water. That's it?
That's it. No solution at all. Yeah. So that's it. And you're buoyant. And so it gives you this feeling, again, of weightlessness.
Wow. All right. Let's get to the chat finally.
Yes,
Let's see here. And,
Dominique.
any questions?
Yeah, Dominique wants to know, what supplemental minerals do you suggest? If you go to my website, if you go to BeMoreRaw.com,
yes,
you can click on the colon hydrotherapy, and then you'll want to go to, there's like a place where you can go to shop, go to my dispensary full script, and there's some recommended protocols. But the product that I would recommend, and I would not recommend anyone never get supplements on Amazon for a million reasons I'm not going to go into, but please don't get consumables from Amazon. They've done studies that show that most of them aren't even this product that you're looking for. Wow. I have personal experiences of a brand that I'm very familiar with and knew how it worked, and it didn't taste, feel, or work the same, even though the packaging was the same.
But that's so important that you're sharing this, because people shop at Amazon. And you know, it's so funny. We just got rid of our Prime membership.
Did you? Look,
yes, ma'am.
Hey, I'm not saying that I don't buy anything from Amazon, so it's not a judgment. But in terms of health, I wouldn't recommend you get any consumables. If you're consuming it, you're putting it in your body. It's something you're about to eat, or I just wouldn't recommend it. But
it's helpful to know, though.
Yeah, so there's different types of minerals you can get. If you have any type of gut issues, you can assume that you're going to have absorption issues. So if you have any type of gut issues at all, if you have any health issues at all, you likely have gut inflammation. And so you're going to have absorption issues. So liquid is always going to be the best choice. There's a brand called Trace Minerals. And so those are trace minerals. And then Quicksilver has a product that has, even though they're in capsules, really good absorption. And they are, I'm trying to remember the name of the product, but it has Shilajit in it and micro and the macro minerals.
Shilajit is really good.
Yeah. So it has fulvic and Shilajit, and then it has, zinc, copper, boron, magnesium, all of those, you want, right? On a regular basis.
I love that. All right. Yeah. Who else we got? What else we got here?
That's the only question it looks like.
Well, if you guys have any other health questions, and hi, Danny, Evelyn, and who else? I couldn't see the other name. Who else?
Lisa, Jolie. Yep.
Yeah, you guys. Okay. So, all right. I love how we just boom, came out the bat, with this Pisces Aries mix. So now, I love sort of, we talked about it, and you guys, I will, it's not in the description now, but I will go back and link it in. Elizabeth was here a few months ago, and it was a recorded episode. So if you didn't hear it, because we got really kind of her history and origin story. But I do want to get to your book, your one book. We did talk about that last time, and I want you to share that with the audience and where they can find it and purchase that. And then I want to, kind of break down the sort of the branch of Be More Raw and Be More Clean, because it's both you. And I want to know, is there much of a difference, or is it just kind of like, different, branches of all that you do?
Yeah. So
Okay.
basically, Be More Raw is just the parent company now.
Okay.
So what it is we have Be More Raw Wellness Center. And so then we have these subsidiaries, right? We've acquired Celestial Float Spa, but it's going to become Be More Raw Wellness or Be More Calm, right?
Oh,
It's just underneath that, right? So Be More Clean. If you go to Be More Raw, that's my home website. That'll have links to everything I do, right?
Okay.
That'll have links to the Melanin Natural Expo, which we are bringing back at the end of 2025.
Oh, good.
That'll have a link to the Be More Clean, the Colon Hydrotherapy. But yeah, Be More Raw is the parent company, my LLC that I started, 13 years ago.
I love it. Now tell us about the book.
Yeah, so it is my first book. I definitely need to write another one. I really want to write another one with, just kind of updating the information that we've learned and about the microbiome. But the book is called, Don't Go Vegan, Progress Not Perfection, because a lot of people are putting a lot of weight into these titles and these labels and these diets.
Yeah.
And the truth is the word vegan doesn't mean anything. It doesn't really mean health. It just means that you don't support the consumption of or possession of animals for your entertainment or, consumption. That's all it means. It doesn't mean healthy. I went to a vegan food event the other day, and I was looking, she had these desserts, and I was like, do you have anything gluten-free? And she had something with Oreos. I'm like, are those actual Oreos? I'm like, that's not an option. Like, I'm not eating Oreos ever.
No. Oh my God.
But they're vegan, right? So that's why I try to separate these labels, the diets.
We got to be careful out there, you guys. Yeah. And I like that you say that, because I know for you, we mentioned this on the last show, and you kind of, messed me up a little bit and say, I've been saying goodbye to my fish with all the parasites and Elizabeth, listen, she's very gentle in that sense. She doesn't tell you not to do something. She just tells you the benefits or the lack of benefits.
I just try to tell you the facts, right?
Well, that's what I mean. The facts and the information. But yeah, you did explain that there's a lot of parasites in fish.
More than parasites. So all animal products, unfortunately, are going to contribute to parasites, but the fish is the most contaminated meat that we eat. And this is documented. Again, this is not my opinion or a theory. This is something that we know. PCBs, dioxin, mercury, microplastics, pharmaceuticals, all found in really high levels in fish, unfortunately. And that's our fault. We did that.
No, we did that. But can I ask you one question about that?
Go ahead.
After that show, I had to go do a little research.
Yeah.
And I did see that one type of fish, and there may have been two, but one type of fish was not so bad at all. But it's
not so bad with what?
Girl, let me finish, because I don't even know. You know what I'm saying? But I'm going to tell you. But in terms of parasites, I'm not excusing the other stuff. But they were saying it's deep Arctic fish. So I think there was the fish name. I think it was Arctic chard or Arctic char.
Okay.
Fish, because it's deeper in the ocean, it's not getting all the mercury and the other stuff like the other fish.
Okay.
So that was the one that I kind of saw that was like, could I still eat maybe one?
Right.
It
would be the data, right? I would want to see the report. I wouldn't want to read an article interpreting it. I would want to see the actual report, right? Because a lot of people trust the Clean 15 and the Dirty Dozen list. I was like, read the report. The Clean 15 doesn't mean that those produce items have no pesticides. It means they have the least residue.
Okay, now wait. Now you just said some fancy health terms. What is the Dirty Dozen and the Clean 15 for those? Because I don't know, and I'm sure some of my audience doesn't know either. Please explain that.
Yes, so the Clean 15 and the Dirty Dozen are lists that have been created by I'm trying to remember the name of the organization. They're a nonprofit organization, and then basically do what the FDA should be doing. Okay. I mean, that's the truth. That's the truth,
I know,
right?
keep it real, right? Keep it real.
That's the truth. That what the FDA should be doing, which is protecting us. So what they do is they go out every year and they test produce items. They go to the grocery store and they test produce items
Wow.
and put out a report. Now they put out the full report, but they also put out a list for you. And so it's called the Clean 15 and the Dirty Dozen list. So the Dirty Dozen are produce items that have the highest residues of toxic pesticides, herbicides,
Oof.
right? The Clean 15 have the lowest residue, but I always tell people that doesn't mean that they have none. That
Right.
just means they have the least amount. But
Least
if you
amount.
can
A
afford
little
organic,
less poison for your tummy.
yeah, always buy organic. You're going to get BT toxin. You're going to get glyphosate every time you're not eating organic. And glyphosate is 10 times more effective at opening your zonulin pathways, which is basically leaky gut, than
Ooh.
gluten.
So that spray is even worse than the gluten, huh?
It's 10 times more effective. I don't want to say that's worse, but it's 10 times more effective at creating that leaky gut, right? It's poking holes in your gut.
So let's talk about something a little controversial, right? We know we have a new regime, a new leadership in our country. And I'm excited about one aspect, and that is RFK Jr. And if he can do things like get rid of the glyphosate in the sprays, get rid of chemtrails, and get rid of fluoride in the water, how beneficial could that be for us as American citizens?
Yeah. With what specifically? Getting rid of the sprays?
Well, yeah, the sprays on the fruits and veggies,
Yeah.
let alone, I mean, fluoride in the water and then the chemtrails. I mean, I'm sure you see in your office people that deal with so many different things that could be affected by just those three categories alone, let alone
Oh,
their dietary choices, right?
exactly. 100%. 100%. I mean, I think it's really cool. I mean, a lot of these things are banned in Europe, right? In other
Yeah.
countries. You go
Oh,
to Italy, these things are banned. They don't spray over there, though, these
the world
chemicals.
kind of laughs at us, right?
I mean, I'm saying, right? We're the highest rates of cancer and heart disease. Yay, number one. You like
Oh my god, I love that. No, it hurts my heart though because we don't have to use like hospitals and medical everything for profit that it's at the detriment of the citizens of this country for our health. Like it's such a sad mind shift, right? That's why I said this years ago that capitalism does not breed humanism.
Mm,
And it's just it is what it is. Like, you know what I mean? You could just look down the list and the numbers, and I think greed, overrides the intention to really take care and heal people, and
yeah.
so it's important for people like you and the holistic or naturopathic doctor you work with, to be so intentional with. So that leads me to this. I'm kind of fascinated with when you mention the minerals.
Hmm.
What are your favorite, or what from research, the best minerals that we can take daily, or however long many times we should take it, once or twice a week or whatever,
Yeah.
for our gut health? Like,
So
can you
here's
give us
the
a list
thing.
of different
Yeah,
minerals
I
and things
mean,
people
yes
should
and
be?
no. You're not going to like my answer
Uh-oh.
because everybody wants. I get this question a lot, and
Okay.
it could be what's the best mineral. It could be what's the best herb for my XYZ. It could be what's the best diet. My dad to this day, I need a diet for this. I'm like, well, there's not different diets for different diseases. There's one
Right.
diet that's optimal for every organism on the planet. Period. Blank.
Yeah.
End of story. So I wouldn't want to give you a list of top minerals because you need all minerals and you need all vitamins. That's the truth, right?
That is the
Um,
truth. So
you could,
okay, so give us the roadmap. Where do we start? Because some people just don't know where to begin. So give
yeah,
us
I mean,
yeah.
I love that. I think the first step would be, okay, so when I'm done with this, I'm going to create just a general recommended multi and mineral on my full script. So you guys can go there and just click on it and buy it. And I'll put a discount everyone, you'll never pay full price. Okay. So
Right.
I'll do that. But You need all of them. That's the truth, right?
Yeah.
So like, where would you start if you're just like, hey, I want to get healthy? Start by adding in what you're missing. And the easiest, cheapest, simplest way that I think there is to do that is with these guys. Do you have a blender? Can you go to
Yeah.
Goodwill and get a cheap, crappy blender until you're ready to make an expensive one? And this is a daily in your life. Start with the smoothies, and most of them should be leafy greens. Okay. Most of the blender should be full of leafy greens, not the same green. You rotate it every week. Every time you go shopping, you use spinach, kale, get a spring mix. You could do romaine, throw purple cabbage in there, right? So the rest of it, fruit.
Okay, but I want to stop you right there for a second, right? So two things with that. So you hear and you read these different articles and different health coaches and videos, and this nutritionist says that. So two things that I just thought of.
Yeah.
One, when you're doing the smoothies, you shouldn't mix fruit and vegetables, right? Or is it safe to mix them?
Is it safe? Of course it's totally safe. I'm so sorry.
Okay. No, because some people say, like, if you're going to do a fruit smoothie, just stay with the fruits.
And they do say that. So let's break that down. This is a very, very good point. So what they're referring to is food combining. Nobody properly combines foods.
Yeah.
No one.
No one. Yeah.
Have you ever eaten a granola bar? That is the worst food combination. He's right. So what he's talking about are different foods digest at different rates. Yes. Fruit and nuts are on the opposite ends of the spectrum, which makes sense if you think about it. Fruit, watermelon digests fast. Nuts and seeds or protein and fat, they digest really slow. Yep. Granola bars are the worst food combination ever. Is it safe? Not only is it safe, it's helping people reverse disease.
Yeah.
And it's been used on thousands and thousands of people, reversing Hashimoto's, Sjogren's, lupus, multiple sclerosis. Oh my God, IBS. Did I say Hashimoto's already?
Yes.
Hormone issues.
And I know for myself, Elizabeth, that for me, doing those smoothies, it's been a game changer. You know what I mean? And I love, putting in, like you said, all the different leafy greens. But I do have this question.
Yes.
Okay, so I got to do two different ones. The first one is the pros and cons, because I'm hearing so much information and I just don't know if it's real.
Sure.
That spinach is actually not that good for us compared to the kale. Kale is good and spinach not so good. Is that the case? Or what are your thoughts on what the difference is?
Well, tell me what did you hear? What did they say it's not good for us? Because that's an opinion. That's not a fact.
Okay, right? So I think they were saying something about spinach in terms of the
oxalates.
Yes. Thank you. I couldn't remember the word. Thank you.
This is really unfortunate, and it is hard for you. So I want to empathize. And as a practitioner and doing this for a long time, I do have this knowledge. So I want to empathize first with the listener that it is hard to dissect through this conflicting information. For me as a practitioner, it's infuriating and almost triggering to hear people say that healthy foods are not healthy. There is zero evidence, zero data to support these claims. That is insane. It's actually
spinach. Insane. I could have at it because I love spinach.
Oh my God, please do. Okay.
Yeah, I do.
Green. So oxalates. Okay. Oxalates, first of all, yes, there's oxalates that are naturally occurring in certain foods. The notion that eating leafy greens is going to give you kidney stones is crazy. This is not documented in any medical literature. You know what causes high oxalates? You know what causes kidney stones? Too much animal products. You know what else causes kidney stones? Mold. So if you're living in a moldy house and you don't know it, and you have mold exposure 2 years ago and you don't know, and then you have some high oxalate stuff, then you'll get some kidney stones. But the greens will help flush out all of that stuff. And we have so much data.
The vegetables are like the brushing in the body, right? It brushes it.
They're brushing, they're detoxifying. Yeah. They have all your vitamins A, D, E, K, calcium, iron.
So you know what I think it is? I think it's a conspiracy from the carnivores trying to tell you that eating spinach is bad for you.
I mean, I don't even want to say that it's from the carnivore community, but I do believe that there are some bodies or whatever that are just trying to make us afraid of eating healthy food. And I went to a microbiome conference and met all these amazing practitioners, all these fancy credentials.
Yeah.
And I was telling them, she's asking me how to heal her daughter, because I've healed the condition that her daughter had, and I don't remember what it is right now, but I was like, yeah, you can reverse that. I think it was lupus, totally reversible. And she was like, and I was like, she's like, well, what are you doing? I was like, this, smoothies, blah, blah, blah. And she was like, aren't you worried about oxalates? And I was like, no, no, it's not. It's a non-issue. It's just simply not a real issue.
And honestly, I'm speaking, I don't want to name any names or rat anybody out, but I'm speaking from experience in terms of hearing from more carnivore people mentioning the oxalates to me.
And they might, because they hear it, right?
They hear it and they run with it,
and so they're going to run with it. Yeah, why wouldn't you? You know what I mean? It's to your, to your argument, to your benefit.
Okay, so now I got another interesting one. This one is more about like with different foods that have been genetically modified, but not like the GMOs that we think, but through farming practices over the years,
crossbred,
the crossbreeding and and all that stuff, the carrot and the banana, because they say the real banana is like not that big thing. It's like a smaller, it's more small and it's got a different color and shape. So what are your thoughts on the carrot? Because someone said, now this is, I don't know if this is the case. That's why I want to ask you.
Let's do it.
That's why you're here, because you're the expert. So the carrots, they were saying that queens.
Yes. Oh my God.
That was actually used video to get rid of a fetus.
Okay. So let's break this down. I actually love this question because it needs to be answered. It needs to be answered. So GMO stands for genetically modified organism. Okay. This is a very specific approach to gene manipulation. It is not the same as what is crossbred that farmers have been doing for hundreds, maybe more years. Okay. That is a very different process. That is not done in a lab. It's done by farmers in his overalls. Okay. So it's not in a lab done with a gun and guys in science coats. All right. There is a ton of data proving the harmful effects of GMOs. They're linked to autism, fertility issues, aggression in animals, ADHD, inflammation, leaky gut. I could go on and on and on. I can't even remember all the harmful effects of GMOs. So this is well documented. There is zero evidence and zero data showing that hybridized foods, which is what you're referring to, are harmful, period, end of story. If you're going to only look for seeded watermelons, then yes, don't eat carrots or celery or grapes or broccoli or kale or Brussels sprouts or cauliflower or strawberries or apples, because all of those are hybridized foods. And they're helping people reverse disease. So, period.
I love that. So, okay. Now, it is Black History Month, and I'm from my aunts to, the Black family reunion, the cookouts, the summer food barbecues, and every culture has their thing, right?
Of course.
But, turning that, sour grapes or the lemons to lemonade, Black people, out of necessity, had a lot of limited things and turned it into soul food, right? We're talking about the oxtails, the pig's feet. Now, I've never partaken in a lot of that stuff. And I'm not saying it as a badge of honor. It just, as a young child, discussed, it was just like, it was gross to me, and no hate and judge on anybody that likes it. But, this was from, mainly from slavery times and on the plantations. So, two perspectives I want you to share with us. Soul food or not, that kind of question. And then how could we reinvent or reimagine healthier versions of soul food? Because traditionally, Black folks want to make it taste good, baby.
And listen, I'm no different, right? I worked in the restaurant industry. I'm still a foodie. I love food. I love creating. I actually still watch all the Chef Ramsay shows. I love Hell's Kitchen. I love Food Stars. I watch all of them. I love them. I really, really do. I swear to God, I do.
That's so funny.
So, first of all, I think it's important to understand that when we talk about history of soul food, and we are going to get to y'all's questions in a second in the chat.
Yes,
when we
thank
get
you, guys.
to y'all's to talk about soul food, it's important to understand that was never our indigenous, true cultural ethnic food.
Oh, of course not. That's why I know.
Yeah, they teach us, right? Which is why, I want to start this, melanin natural Montessori school, because our schools are devoid of our history.
Yes.
Unfortunately.
It's absurd. Yeah.
Right. And so it starts at slavery. Like, we weren't around before that. And it's insulting.
And we were here in the Americas before.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's crazy, right? That's
Yep.
crazy notion. So that's the first thing, is that if you look at our cultural ethnic foods, actually the Hadza tribe is a wonderful example. So the Hadza tribe is still around today. They have the richest microbiome diversity in the world. Their poop has been studied quite a bit, and they have virtually no chronic disease in their populations. They don't do dairy. They are still hunter-gatherers. So they're not a viewer. They're not vegan or vegetarian necessarily, but guess how much fiber they get a day? Guess how many grams of fiber they get a day?
I don't know. 100?
So the CDC and the WHO, or whatever the national guidelines, they recommend anywhere, if you look that up, I have a slide on this, it's anywhere from about 19 grams to 38 grams of fiber a day, depending on your age. That's what is recommended to us. Okay. So if you're going by these guidelines, which are not science-based, then yeah, you're probably sick, and you're probably like, I don't know what I'm doing wrong, right? Guess how much fiber the Hadza tribe gets? 100 to 150 grams a day.
Yay, I was right. I passed the test. I said 100.
Did you? I love it.
Yeah, I said 100, yeah.
But do you understand that that's 3 to 4 times more than what is recommended to us?
Now, I don't know the name of this tribe. Where are they?
They're in Tanzania.
Oh, in Tanzania. Okay.
Hadza, Hadza.
Wow.
And they've been studied a lot, and they're still around because they don't live the way that we do. Yes, Steve, I have a ton of experience with long COVID and digestive issues. This is what I do.
Oh, good. Let's get to the question.
CMOS is amazing. Actually, y'all were asking about mineral supplements. CMOS is going to be more digestible because it's food, right? So depending on if you're doing the gel, I'm from Trinidad. My dad is Trinidadian. So CMOS, before CMOS is trendy, it's actually the name of a drink in Trinidad. Now, it's traditionally made with dairy milk and sugar. Now, I've upgraded it, of course, and my dad doesn't do dairy anymore anyway. But all you do is you take some CMOS gel, you blend it up. I put a couple of dates in there. And if you really want to make it even healthier, throw some chia seeds in there for omegas, or hemp seeds.
That sounds so good.
Yeah. And then you put in as many dates as you need to make it sweet. And then you drink it. And it's like a thick, sweet porridge. It's like a Caribbean version of horchata, if you know.
Yes, exactly. I've had it
before.
Kind
of right. It's like a little thicker than horchata, but it's so freaking good. So CMOS is great for minerals.
Dates are super good for you and very sweet though.
Yep. Yeah. A date is going to have natural sugar in it. And so when you're eating a whole food, the fiber is going to slow the absorption of the fructose into your bloodstream, right? So you don't have to worry about sugar in fruit. Sugar in fruit is naturally occurring. We need this. Your brain runs on glucose. So you need sugars, right? But not added sugar.
Okay.
Right. Julie had a question about choosing a good colon hydrotherapy practitioner in San Diego. Honestly, I would call them and ask them what kind of system they have. And I don't have a better answer than like trusting your gut, because the truth is I've seen people that have all these certifications and they had weird practices. So for me, the certification is cool. It sounds nice, but it
don't mean to think it if it ain't got that swing.
It really, you know what I'm saying? It really doesn't. So I would, go into the office and just kind of feel the vibe and
But give them like a poignant question to ask, right? Because like you almost have to be a detective when it comes to your health, and you can't just look at what their papers and their degrees on the wall. You have got to know and be informed to ask certain questions. So what could be like a key question to ask if I'm going into a practice or a
Well,
place?
if you're doing a closed session, which is what I would recommend for everybody if it's your first time, unless you're going a week or more without a bowel movement, if you're doing a closed session, ask her if she's familiar with the benefits of multiple colonics in a row. The insertion should never hurt, so you could just ask her to walk you through the process. But the process, and if you go to bemoreclean.com, we have it all laid out for you. It should match that. It should be pretty standard. Like,
Oh,
they
see,
take
that's
you
great.
back. The insertion should never, ever, ever, never, never, never hurt. You get undressed, you disrobe, and exactly. Yeah. If it's, okay. Yeah. We had somebody join in and say, ask if the colonic will be painful. And if they say maybe or possibly, then don't go. I love that. Yeah. Because
Oh,
it should
okay.
not hurt.
Yeah, that would turn me off.
Yeah. 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 I don't blame you. Lisa asked, is moringa powder as effective as the capsules? You've read conflicting data. You have read conflicting data because it's going to depend on you, the individual, and it's going to depend on the moringa, right, itself. So where is it sourced? Is it organic? Is it freeze dried? Was it cooked? Was it heated? Right. So all of these are going to affect it. And again, the gut, you, the individual, if you have leaky gut, if you have inflammation, then you're going to always have a harder time absorbing any capsules, any vitamins. Doesn't mean that none is absorbing, but you're always food, liquid, anything that's like in liquid or food form will always be more absorbable than a capsule.
Right. Do you have
Doesn't
to
mean
be
I don't take
careful
any
with
capsules, but
going capsule crazy, Elizabeth? Do you have to be careful with going capsule crazy? Because I hear about that so often about, it is not always absorbing the way we think.
yeah.
So,
Yeah. I hate to be an advertisement for Quicksilver Scientific, but they have third party tested their absorption rate of their supplements.
okay.
So I actually am very specific in my protocols. So again, if you go to my website, you'll see I have a heavy metal protocol and a mold protocol in my full script dispensary. And I specify, yes, this looks like a more expensive product, but do not get another brand of glutathione because they've tested and proven the absorption is, 3 to 5 times more than these other companies. So you might think, oh, it's cheaper. Well, that's because you literally are absorbing less. Is it doing nothing? No, it's probably not doing nothing. But if you want to get the most bang for your buck, just like the crappiest food is cheap. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm
No,
not
it
saying
makes
that
total
you have
sense.
to pay a pretty penny, but
Sometimes you do get what you pay for. And,
yeah, sometimes, so
and I tell people, what's so important, and I know
yeah,
you would agree with this in that sense that, if you're gonna cheapen out on anything, don't let it be on what's going into your body.
bro,
Let it
your
be
health.
on like something that doesn't matter. Like
My scrubs is from Goodwill.
exactly. Because but wait, but I will say, right, Age of Aquarius, we do want to try to wear high vibrational clothing because that energy does affect our body, right? So I'm on this kick now of kind of, I got 3 kids still at home, so I can't do it so fast. But I'm trying to be more intentional. My wife and I, cotton, organic cotton, linen or wool.
I love you.
And so that's so important,
I love it. I mean, I would say the organic, right? Because linen is still synthetic fibers, isn't it?
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, I know that you want to get as much organic as you can, right?
Yeah.
And whether it's the linen, but I know that those are the 4 highest frequencies, and linen and wool are the 2 highest. But like it says in the Bible, they will cancel each other. So you don't mix linen with wool.
Interesting. See, I'm surprised to hear that wool is the highest frequency, and I wonder if that's been tested because if you understand how wool is made, it's taken from tortured animals. So I don't see how that could be high vibrational. You're wearing trauma, death, torture.
No, I know. I think about that stuff too, and
it's the truth.
Yeah,
it's
no,
true.
I agree with you.
You're not being shaved off at your mom and pop's farm, the wool that you're getting in the grocery store. Unfortunately, that's just not the case anymore. And you can look up how wool is made on YouTube. You'll find some really horrific videos. It's unfortunate, but it's
I don't even want to know. Like, oh my God. No.
I know. But don't you want to know? You want about
No, I mean, I do. I mean, I'm not a big wool shopper, But I will say that that is something that I've got to consider when I think about that. But it's also just like that. And then I want to ask you about, I want to get into the copper discussion because I think there's a lot of fascinating studies and research with
Thank you,
copper.
Sabali.
But it's the same thing with high vibrational self-talk, high
Yes,
vibrational clothing, and then even
love
like
it.
you were saying, theta, beta, delta, alpha, gamma, going through the sound frequencies and the mind states.
Yeah.
Like these are things that are all connected with, Pluto Aquarius. And you're going to see a
Mm.
lot of advances even in stem cell stuff and with technology for our health. There are a lot of things. And, even during this time right now, we've got this amazing, it's called Sedna. It's in Gemini. It had been in Taurus forever. It
Mhm.
just is in 0 degrees Gemini now, sort of trining the Pluto Aquarius. And it's quite literally going to be bringing up new algae like sea moss, but even some that are more minerals than sea moss
Yes, I
out of
love
the
it.
ocean. And I think they just found something recently. I was reading something. And then, but also new species. There's a
Mm.
new, I had an amazing guest on. She's from the Dakota Lakota tribe, Stephanie Big Eagle. And,
Mm.
she was talking about different things, but there's new species they're finding in the ocean, same
Love it.
as off the coast of Japan. I think it was a few months ago, may have
Love
been
it.
like early fall. They found like new pyramids in the ocean. So this is the Sedna energy. It's the grandmother
Wow.
goddess energy, awakening the divine feminine, but out of the waters. So we may start to actually meet or see, you guys, some of these mermaids,
I love
stuff
it.
like
I
that.
love
So,
it.
there's so much changing. But speaking of that change, how good is, we know with these grounding mats and earthing and even copper with different things helping your body and stuff, but even copper in the garden with fruits and veggies. What do you know about copper being beneficial in a multitude of ways in our lives for our health?
I did not know. Thank you so much, Jazz Loves Blade and Sabali Pure. They were correcting us on the linen or me because I wasn't sure. They said it's actually supposed to be from a plant, but some might be synthetic. So just like everything else, guys,
Yeah,
read your labels, right? Read your
yeah, you
labels.
got to
Don't
read the
read
labels,
the
right?
rest and just see, what is it actually made of. So
Yeah.
copper has antibacterial properties. I want to say it's also antiviral. I know that it was used back in it was like farmer or like
Yeah. Oh,
oat
yeah.
days or something. Yeah, to like sanitize things. So it's great for water. I did not know about the benefits with gardening. So I
Oh,
would need
yeah.
to ask my partner, yeah,
Not
Danielle
only
about that.
copper, but also they're doing instrumental classical music, sound therapy,
That
sound
makes
frequency for
sense.
the plants.
Yeah, and I talk about that in my book, right? I talk about like that frequency, and that retreat center that I did work at was so beautiful. When I was the kitchen manager there, part of our duties and our tasks was actually to bless the food. That was before we opened the doors to the public. And all of the sprout trays had positive affirmations on it, right? So this has been measured, and it sounds kind of woo woo, and maybe our listeners are woo woo because we're on an astrology show.
That's
But
right.
I was, for me, this is full circle, right? I was an atheist for a very long time. I'm a very black and white. I'm very logic minded. I was always like, you got to show me the money, like, show me the facts. Like, you can't just tell me 2 + 2 is 4. I'm like, show me how, right? Since I was little. And so this is full circle because honestly, what changed it for me was actually that documentary, that movie, The Secret, and learning that these things had been measured and they're, like, no, this is science. Like, we've measured the
Yeah.
effects of these positive and negative words to prove to you,
Well,
hey, this is
science
not
is
crazy.
always catching up to spirituality, just so
I
you know.
love it.
They're always catching up.
Yeah.
And yes, there
Or
is.
overlapping.
Well, but think about I always forget Dr. Hashimoto. I always forget his full name, and please forgive me.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah, he did the study with the water about
Exactly.
speaking lovingly to the water, and you can
Exactly.
do that with plants. And they even just came out with new research saying just like dogs and cats, and we know trees are sentient beings, your plants can actually sense as you get closer to home, you guys.
I love it.
That's great. Like, so, I always talk to my precious plant back there and,
Yeah.
and that's very, very important. And, it makes you realize everything, like you said before, is a living organism. So
Yeah.
we need to live in harmony with it all.
Right.
So I think we may have do you see a couple more questions and comments? Because I want, people definitely want to pick your brain on different things. So
Yeah. I think I answered everybody so far.
Okay.
Janice was just talking about how she's converting to organic, and I'm so happy that you're doing that. Where did I work?
Janice.
It was at the Tree of Life in Patagonia, Arizona. And sadly, unfortunately, it is no longer. He sold it and he's in Israel now. So, I would love to, keep that dream alive. It was a beautiful space.
Really?
And with high vibe food, and we have multiple business goals, and so we're always looking for funding. We're always looking for funding for the next organic high vibrational restaurant, because I don't know if you've noticed, but we don't have any out here. For the next wellness center, to have all of these therapies under one roof, for the Black Montessori school. I mean, there's so many things that we need in this world right now.
I love that, because I, not only being a father of 4 boys, but, I taught for 13 years, but 10 years with multiply severely disabled children in the Bronx. And I would totally reimagine the school system. It's so outdated. It's so, Rockefeller, brainwashing, manipulation, trying to create workers. But I know that bringing back this ancient wisdom and knowledge, being one with nature, teaching agriculture, teaching, plumbing, air conditioning, teaching astrology, numerology, tarot, the metaphysics, really having kids living science and doing experiments in nature and planting and playing in the soil and spending the hours of 12 to 2 outside in the sun where they should be, not in a prison/school building. You know what I mean? This is the way to reimagine our school systems.
Yeah.
Honest to God, I really feel, Elizabeth, that is going to be part of the experience when Uranus gets to Gemini, and starting on the 7/7 portal this year, but officially for 7 years, it'll be coming in April of 2026. And that trine to Pluto and Aquarius, we're going to see technological, medical, scientific advancements that I think is going to reimagine and change every system.
I love it.
Everything's outdated.
Yeah.
We've been lied to for too much, for too long. And more people every single day are awakening to the illusion, the confusion, and the deception. And now we've got to transmute it out.
Yeah.
And that's hard. I'm not saying this is easy, you guys. It takes time. I mean, I know for my wife and I, we want to homeschool. They are like dying for the socialism and being around, to socialize with their friends. Right. And it's like, but you just feel every day like, I have to send my kids to school. Like it feels like a dirty exchange.
I mean, there's better options, which is cool, but yeah, for me, there's not one that really has everything. Again, for me, the biggest thing is that, that African diaspora that is missing from our teaching. Montessori schools are better. So my son has never and will never enter a public school. That's just never going to happen. Right. Yeah. So he's been in an organic when he was 2. He's been since he was about 2 or 1 in an organic Montessori school till about 5. Okay. And then we found another Montessori school. So there's other options out there. Like there's
Montessori. I mean, we did Montessori with the 2 older boys,
but,
and I wish I did it with the twins. But it's a daily struggle. So I want to find out. I like how you said about your book. Don't what to say the title again? Don't
go vegan. Progress, not perfection, can change your life.
Okay. So how do you feel about parasite cleanses? Because, right now, Pluto being in Aquarius, Pluto is virus, and Aquarius and Pluto are about detoxification.
Oh.
And most indigenous cultures will do a parasite cleanse once a year.
Yeah,
some do twice a year. Some do once a season. As I was doing research, some will do it with each season.
Yep.
And I think that's beautiful.
Yeah.
And some Americans have never even heard of it or never even done one in their lives.
I know.
So as we're at this point where it's something that I've been telling people to do, I do a lot of intermittent fasting, eating with the circadian rhythms of the sun. And I do sometimes the master cleanse has been very beneficial. But share some of your insight, experience, and knowledge with parasite cleanses?
So parasite cleansing is great. Any and all type of cleansing is great. I definitely recommend you do it supervised. Please find someone that knows what they're doing, that has the experience. I used to sell juice cleanses and I stopped because I felt it was irresponsible of me. I've seen so many people do them improperly, or they don't know what they're experiencing during. They stop early because they think something's wrong, even when it's not,
Right.
or they break their fast improperly, or they don't break. So I've seen it. And when I say go wrong, it's not to scare you. Like no one's hurting themselves. Like, you know what I mean? It's not like they go to the hospital, but they don't understand what they're doing. So that's the first thing. Please, please don't just go do it by yourself. Don't think that you've researched because you've read a bunch of stuff online. The internet is not what it was. COVID has censored
everything.
COVID,
We've seen it. Just, you're right. The information that may have been there in 2018, 2019,
it wasn't.
It's been literally like
not.
wiped, edited, changed now. Yeah.
They blacklisted a lot of stuff like he's talking about. It's really, really true. So when people are like, oh, I did my research, I'm like, no. I had a girlfriend who got breast implants and I was like, oh no, she was a really close friend of mine. Exactly. I know. And I was like, oh no. And he goes, she did her research. I go, but you found the wrong research.
Yeah. Oh my God.
If you're searching on government websites, are EMF safe? You're going to find a bunch of information that says, yes, they're safe. Well, guess what? We know that they're not.
No.
So you have to learn, you have to know how to search. You have to find trusted sources that you can go to. But yeah, don't just do a juice cleanse or any type of cleanse unsupervised if you don't know what you're doing. You need someone to consult with so that you can ask questions and understand what's happening and what you're feeling and what you're experiencing, because these things are very spiritual. You can have emotions come up. You can have trauma come up. You can feel really crappy if you have a lot of toxins, right? So there's ways to mitigate these symptoms, right? So that's the first thing. Cleansing is amazing. And I think, yes, everyone should do it a few times in their life. But what is more important is what you do between the cleanse. Okay. The parasites, what you have to understand about parasites is that they are not the cause of anything. They are the result of. That your body has mechanisms and systems in place to take care of viruses and parasites and pathogens. And if those systems are working well, then the parasites are not going to flourish.
Right.
They're not going to proliferate.
I
right.
Like that. That's so a nice approach.
Yeah. So your stomach acid is going to kill off pathogens, bacteria, viruses. If it makes it past that, your bile is going to be so alkaline, it kills them off too. Well, guess what? If you don't have your gallbladder, now what? Now you can't make bile.
Whew. Keep it real.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So now if you're overeating or you're not eating enough fruits and vegetables, now your liver's congested. And so now that's not working properly. So you see how it's this domino effect? Yeah. You can be eating really well. You could be having your smoothies every single day. And if you're not getting enough sleep, your body's inflamed, period.
So is it scientifically proven that, let's say, eating meat, whether it's grass-fed, grass-finished steak, or whatever, right? Any meat, right? Traditionally, is it take in the human body about 2.5 days to properly digest meat?
Yep, 2 to 4 days.
Wow.
2 to 4 days. And then another fact that is, again, not a theory or anything else, is that it is inflammatory by nature. So this is, this is proven.
And it's mucus creating, right?
It's mucus forming. And then whenever you're eating even bone broth, it's creating arachidonic acid in your body. And so that's inflammation. Right.
Yeah. So, a lot of people on that kick right now. Yeah. Yep. I know. Yeah.
So it's important, again, that you understand just the faint facts. It doesn't mean, if I can give you one tip about sorting through conflicting evidence, assume both sides are right.
Yes.
If you're looking at 2 articles and this one says meat is toxic, blah, blah, blah. Again, we're facts, not the opinions, but the facts. Let's say that they have some actual facts. And let's say this one over here says, oh, it has all these minerals. Assume they're both correct. It doesn't mean that it doesn't have these minerals, but it doesn't mean that it's not cancer causing either.
See,
right.
I know.
So you weigh the benefit for yourself, right?
No,
if you want to eat something that's
totally
cancer causing because it has minerals, go for it. But you know what else has minerals? Leafy greens, nuts and seeds, smoothies.
Well, because I've had this discussion and I don't want to say argument, but debates. But there has been I would say honestly, in the last 4 to 5 years, a huge carnivore movement. And I
Yeah,
don't judge or say anything to anybody or whatever.
sure.
I tell people, eat what you want to eat.
Of
It's
course.
really not my business. But some people will ask me for advice because I can see certain things in the birth chart. So
Mm,
that's what's really fascinating in terms of tendencies, what you may be prone to, and what may even be better for you to digest based on your second and sixth house. Second house is food, speech. The sixth house is health, hygiene,
mm,
sicknesses, and illnesses.
yeah.
Right. So that gets into the medical astrology. But one thing that when you said that the 2.5 to 4 days to digest, oh my goodness, what is happening to people who are eating meat 7 days a week, 2, 3 times a day?
Well,
And then,
that's
and then they
most
have the nerve to
Americans.
tell you, "Oh, my poop is regular. I'm regular." I'm like, "Yeah, but you're
It's
like,
not
you're not regular, and you're pooping. You're like your poop is like
runny.
three weeks behind because
It's yeah. So one, most people and your regular doctor don't know what regular poop is. I've met naturopaths. I've met a naturopathic doctor who told one of my clients it's normal to poop every 3 days. That is simply not true or
we
correct.
had that conversation with some friends the other day, and I was like, no. I mean, I'm so regular, like I poop after every meal.
That is ideal. That is what you want, like a dog or a baby. You know how they eat and then they
Yep.
poop? That's how
Eat
we
and
supposed
poop.
to be.
Yep.
That's how we supposed to be. Okay. So most doctors don't have this education on nutrition.
Yeah.
One, most people don't know what healthy poop is. The frequency of poop to me is doesn't tell me as much as the consistency. If your poop, oh, I poop 3 times a day. Well, if your poop is runny, then you're constipated.
Yeah.
Diarrhea is one of the first signs of constipation.
Constipation. Yeah.
Right. So for me, I want to know, what does it look like? I want to know the size and the shape, and I want to know, does it pass easily? And I have seen people and met people on the carnivore diet. And I've seen them be really, really sick. And it does mask some symptoms right away. And like any and all diets work. All diets will give you some results. If you come from processed foods and take out processed foods and go on any whole food diet, you're going to see results.
Well, that's one of the things. It's funny that you say it because that's one of the things that people say. Oh, since I've been eating meat, I feel real virile and strong, and I just feel with a lot of energy. And I'm like, yeah, because you're like an animal. But you know, so I see what you're saying with that because yeah, that's one of the comebacks, right? The clapbacks.
Yeah. It's masking symptoms, just like keto, right? So the truth is that we're not carnivores.
No.
We're just not. So can we tolerate some animal products, animal foods? Yeah, we can tolerate some. But if we eat too much, we get cancer. And that's been proven. That was proven decades ago. We can turn cancer on and off by increasing and decreasing casein, right? So we have proven this. There's thousands and thousands of studies. There's tons of books on this information that this is proven. This is not theory anymore. So yeah, it will mask your symptoms. You are starving out a ton of beneficial bacteria. I love it. Yeah. So I was talking about the poop. So yeah, I told this person a long time ago, your poop should be about 12 inches long. So yes, your ideal poop should be about as wide as your wrist, from your wrist to your elbow. That's an optimal bowel movement. And it sounds crazy until you have one and you're like, oh, that's it. I almost clogged my toilet. Oh my God. Right. That's it.
I know. You told that to my wife, and she was like, "You better be looking at your poop." And I was
That's right. Look at your poop every day from now until forever. Okay. 2 tips. I'm going to leave you with one more before we go. The first
okay.
one, assume both sides are right when sorting through conflicting evidence. The second one, look at your poop every day, all the time. Every day, all the time. Teach your kids to look at their poop. Me and my son celebrate his poop. We look at it like, oh, that one's a little thin, maybe a little inflamed. Okay. Did you strain? Were you straining? It should pass easily, guys.
Yeah.
It should pass fast. It
That's
should be
right.
bigger than you think is normal or possible. And it should pass easily. You should be, woo, and it came right out. It should be come right out.
I just
Okay.
pooped a child. So, okay,
Yeah.
wait. I do want to, because we didn't really complete the thought with this. I want you to get back to the soul
Whole
food
food.
because I like what you said, and that makes total sense in terms of what is really indigenous to us.
Hmm.
But let's kind of deal with, because we have ingrained in our culture, right? And we know, like, hey, collard greens are good, but there's certain things, sweet potato yams are good, right? But still, how can you reimagine or reinvent, and what could be the healthy version of soul food?
I think so. My particular approach is exactly what you're talking about. I like to, people ask me, what should I do? What should I eat, etc.
Yeah.
What do you eat now and how can we upgrade that? That's how you're going to see the biggest success. I can tell you what to eat and tell you to do smoothies every day and salads every day. But if you're so far away from that, it's going to feel really overwhelming. You're going to fail really quickly, or it won't last. You'll be gung ho and then it won't last.
And you'd rather have people do slow process baby steps so
I
then
really
it can
do.
integrate and become habitual, right?
I really, really do. I just see that for the best results. That's just what I've seen for the most long-term solutions, because I don't want to be another Band-Aid in your life. I don't want to be another program you do and then you go to another program. I want to be the last practitioner you have to see. That's my goal. I focus on the education. I want to teach you why you're making disease in your body and why this is healthy and why this isn't, right? I want to teach you about GMOs and toxic oils and inflammatory foods and cooked foods versus raw, and why, I want to teach you all of those. So the first thing you can do is just look at the ingredients, right? Make everything organic, period. That's one upgrade already.
Yeah.
Right. Just make everything organic, period. Right. Now you're reducing your exposure to that glyphosate, to that BT toxins, and those are gut killers, microbial killers. Okay. The next thing that you can do is make it plant-based. Fiber, right? So whatever meal you have, I don't care if it's a mac and cheese casserole, now you have organic gluten-free noodles, right? Make it gluten-free, and you're using non-dairy cheese. You can use healthy whole food nut-based cheeses. You don't have to use processed cheeses, right?
Yeah, because they have the cashew cheese. They've got
There's so many of them. There's so many nowadays. So I don't want to hear this baloney of like, oh, it's all processed. I'm like, no, you're buying processed. It's not all processed. I don't have that stuff in my house.
I love it.
I don't give that stuff to my son. I'll tell you that right now, right? But baby steps, Janice. That's how you're going to see the biggest results. So even if you don't go plant-based, right? Because I don't want to make this about that, because it turns into this rhetoric and this box and like, oh, it's this.
And people get very offended and defensive. And that's not what you're trying to do. And I surely am not trying to do that with people. But I think you're right in terms of, if you set the expectation of like these attainable daily small goals, then there is more opportunity for real success and transformation in their life and their health and their gut. And that's important. So, okay, as we get ready to wind down, I just I want you to share all your information again. But before that, how important are the probiotics and the prebiotics? Explain what that really means for people, because I know that it's pretty important, right?
They're crucial. So, I've been studying the microbiome for many, many, many years. Oh my God, Kim, that's amazing. She said her 21-year-old poops after every meal and sometimes before. I love it. No, that's normal. We're not normal that we're not pooping, Kim. Right?
So you gotta get it out of you.
Yeah, I love that the microbiome has become kind of trendy. I think it's cool, but just so you know, I was studying it way before it was cool. All right. But what we know is that there's been over 50,000 studies on the microbiome in the past 5 or 6 years, probably more now. And this is the most research done on any health topic ever in history, ever.
Wow.
Ever. That's amazing. That is huge right there. So sit on that for a minute, right?
Yep.
So probiotics are the beneficial bacteria. You can take them orally, but it's important to understand how they work and how to use them. That simply taking an oral probiotic doesn't necessarily cultivate it. It actually doesn't. Studies show that when we test 3 days later after you stop taking it, that probiotic doesn't stay there. What has the biggest impact on the probiotics in your gut are the prebiotics. Sorry, what I mean by that is your diet, guys. Your diet is the quickest way to change your microbiome. You can do a stool transplant, which can work. Oh, you haven't heard about that, Eric? They transplant
stool transplant. What?
This is a very real thing, and there's people that are putting other people's poop in capsules and swallowing it. because it's changing their
Elizabeth.
microbiome. Yeah. And it's effective. I cannot say that it's not effective. The truth is, it is effective. You know what else is just as effective? Changing your diet. Just as effective. Actually, I'm going to argue that it's more effective because the poop transplant stuff, you have to keep taking it. But guess what? You have to eat every day, no matter what. So you could eat foods that are going to feed your gut.
Choose properly or choose better food, and then
Exactly.
you don't have to be swallowing.
Or you could starve
You don't
off
have to
your
be
beneficial bacteria.
swallowing poopy pills.
This is real. This is real. Look it up,
You don't
Eric.
want to be a poopy pill popper.
Bro, it's real. It's
That's absurd to me.
real.
I'm sorry. Now
It's
I've
real.
heard about like being in the woods in the wilderness, and what was that adventure guy? And he like to survive, you could drink your own urine, and can be
Yes,
healthy.
to survive.
Yeah.
If you were there. But also, if there's a camera crew, I'm going to ask them for a glass of water. You know what I'm saying? That's all I'm saying. That's all
I
I'm
know
saying.
before I would go to drinking the urine, but I'm just saying. I mean, you hear of these things, but I've never heard of no other
It
people's
is a
poopy pills.
real thing. It's in, I
Wow.
can't remember what documentary. I saw it in a documentary, but I've heard it in a lot of the functional medicine communities because it has been effective for people that are like, oh, I've tried everything and nothing works. And I'm like, that's great. First of all, surgery statistically is super risky always. It's always risky to go under surgery.
Yes.
Period. It just is, statistically speaking, right? So, but you can achieve the same thing. You can change your microbiome within days, within weeks. You can change your microbiome beneficially. So,
incredible.
Eat your leafy greens, make some smoothies, eat a salad every single day, raw leafy greens every single day.
Yep. I love my microgreens. I love my
Yes.
salads.
Yes.
I'm a big cucumber junkie.
Yes. My son loves cucumbers.
It's my favorite thing. I just love it. Yeah.
He
So,
eats one
okay,
every day.
last thing, and then you could check with the chat before we go if
Yeah.
there's any other thoughts or questions. Bitters. How good are the bitters?
Oh my God, bitters are so good. Anything bitter is good for the liver. So we have a quote saying bitter is better. It's really good for parasites. Bitter is really going to stimulate the liver. So bitters is great. Drink your bitters. You can use it for digestion. You can use it for just indigestion, if you need digestion support, or if you're just wanting to, support yourself and support your liver, you can take a shot of it. Bitter is great. Bitter herbs, bitter leaves. Don't put them in your smoothie. It'll taste gross, but
I keep thinking of things. So I just got to run it out real quick before we say goodbye because I want to give as much information and knowledge to the audience. A lot of us, I think the majority, if people are tested, and I'm sure you've seen this, people are missing the vitamin D, iron, and magnesium.
Mm-hmm.
How important are those to have, and what are the best ways to do that?
Listen, like I said before, all minerals are important. All vitamins and minerals are important. 80% of Americans are deficient in vitamin D. Why? Because where are we? We're inside. We're inside all the time.
I know.
So we got to have sunshine, right?
Yeah.
We got to have sunshine. Most people are deficient in minerals.
Yes.
And you know how we change that? Leafy greens and smoothies.
Yeah.
Not one small salad. That's not enough.
Yeah.
You need pounds of this stuff every day if you want to make a dent in your energy. I have a guy with rosacea that just started working with me. He's on his 3rd week. His skin is already improving.
Now tell me, I don't know what's rosacea?
Rosacea, you ever seen somebody, I've only seen this on Caucasian people. I don't know if Black people can get it, but it's really pink, like super, super pink skin. But it's not normal. It's like inflammation of the skin, basically. And it's like almost red. It's called rosacea. I don't know, a pretty name for the diagnosis, I guess.
That's interesting.
But it's like really like pink, almost red skin. And it's like its skin's inflamed. Well, his skin has already started to clear up just from in a few weeks.
That's great. That's good to hear. God bless him. Yeah, and that's what I love to hear. The positive stories. And people going in and you guys remember this. When you're willing to get uncomfortable and make changes in your life, that's where the real growth and the miracles, they come in. When we're stubborn and stuck and arrogant and, I was just raised on meat and potatoes and I don't know. Like we don't want to be arrogant and dumb. Like be open to learning and getting some new information and also trying new things. I mean, I deal with a lot of people, when they tell me about how they don't feel well and they're really sick, but then they're not willing to make the changes.
Yeah.
And you can't have two things exist at the same time. If you're not feeling good, then you should be radically looking for transformation and changes. And when someone recommends something to you, don't be like, oh, well, I don't do, don't say that. That's not going to help you. You
Yeah.
got to be willing, And so, and my last random thought,
Yeah.
mushrooms.
Which kind?
I just want to know, like, in terms of, so oyster, all of them, right?
Oh yeah, yeah.
There's so many
There's
benefits.
actually, I don't remember which one, but I know one of the mushrooms is actually really high in vitamin D. Funny story. You know how we try to avoid white things, white flour, white rice, not healthy, right? It has no fiber. The white mushroom actually doesn't have it. If you look on the nutrition label, I think it has 0 vitamin D. I don't remember if it was D or K, but I was like, oh my God. So I never buy white mushrooms now. I'm like, oh, well, I guess it just goes with the theme of Mother Nature, right? I mean, I don't want to say everything white, but let me backtrack on that, because what we do know about the microbiome, and based on all the research, including the Hadza tribe, is that diversity is key.
A little bit,
having the same smoothie every day and the same lunch and dinner every day is actually not optimal for your diet. You want to rotate those fruit out. You want to rotate the greens. You want to try different foods. Go to an ethnic market. Try an herb you've never had before. Incorporate it into your diet. It's going to feed different microbes, right? Even just different apples will count. The research shows that you want to get about 40 different plants in your body every week.
Wow, that's a great goal to
30 to 40 is what the research shows. Now, that might sound hard to some of you, but if you're doing a smoothie every day, I already probably have about 10 in this just alone.
Right?
I
know my wife, she puts like a myriad of different things, and I'm just like,
I got chia, hemp, banana, fruit, right? So that's 4. And then my green mix is a big organic bag from Costco. So that's already like 5 or 6 more things, right? That's already like almost 10.
I love that. Oh, this is what I wanted to ask, because when you mentioned the chia seeds, it made me think, how good are the flax seeds and like flaxseed oil?
They're both really, really great. Flaxseed oil, you'll see, is refrigerated. So it goes rancid very, very quickly. So you just really want to be cautious. If it smells rank, if it smells funky or crazy or rancid, if you know what rancid olive oil smells like, please throw it away. That means it's oxidized and it's going to be like more inflammatory. So what I do is I buy whole flaxseed. Do never buy them pre-ground, because they go rancid very quickly, right? Once you've exposed them, they're kind of alive. They're very sensitive to light and heat. So what I do is I buy just bulk bags, and those will last forever because they've got those enzyme inhibitors on them, right? That nice hard shell. And then I grind them myself, and then we keep them in a mason jar in my fridge. So ground flax and ground chia have the highest and most absorbable omega-3 content, period. So they're really important to get into your diet, and you want to do at least 3 tablespoons a day to get your omegas. But it's important to understand that the pathways that choose your omegas, the preferred pathway is actually animal products. So if you're eating any animal products at all, it doesn't convert as well. You've always heard probably maybe that theory about, oh, but the plant omegas
I think I lost you.
don't convert as well. Well, that's not necessarily true.
I lost you for a second. Say that again about the omega with the.
So you may have heard some people say that like plant omegas don't convert as well, like the ALA and the DHA, all of that. So that's not necessarily true. It's that the pathways, there's 2 pathways. And so if you're eating animal products, it actually chooses this other pathway, and that's when these don't convert well. But if you're not eating any animal products at all, then they'll convert really, really well, and they're actually the better absorbed. So if you are still eating animal products, then you might want to supplement a plant-based omega made from algae, because that's where omegas actually come from. They don't come from fish, they come from algae.
I love that. You guys, any last questions, ask now. I want you to share all your information again. You're a great follow too. So tell them about, it's all down below, but I want you to share the website, the IG, but also I just got to ask this, and this is not really questions for the audience. This is just for me because I dealt with a lot of inflammation when I got in valley fever years ago, and thankfully I'm done with all that now. But the nightshades, besides the inflammation, are the nightshades also bad in general? And you guys were talking about the potato, the tomato, and the eggplant, right?
Eggplant. Mm-hmm.
How good or how bad, or is it a mixed bag, baby?
Yeah. So it's a great question, and this is what I'll say to that, because I don't know that we'll have time to go super deep into it, right?
Right.
But what I can tell you is that I've gone super deep. I don't know. I have a very extreme personality. So when I find something, I go
No.
hard, right? Yeah. So I went from hard drugs and drinking overnight to raw pescatarian, right? I did that literally overnight, right? And I detoxed really hard. Don't do that. Go slow. Trust me. Okay. But my point being is I've gone deep down all these rabbit holes, and I was very strict with myself, and I found my place living in a place of fear and restriction. And what I've learned to do is step back and look at the big picture. And the truth is we don't really have a ton of evidence and data showing that these foods are harmful, right? Okay. I would say that that's more of a gut issue. Does that mean that some people can have food sensitivities to certain foods? Of course, but most food sensitivities are a gut issue. They're not a food issue, right? So if your gut is truly healed, and we've done a stool test and your Sig-A is looking good and your microbes are in balance and you don't have dysbiosis or infection, and then you're still having a reaction to it, I would say, okay, cool, let's take a look at it. But that's us ruling out all other variables. That means we've tested you and you don't have any mycotoxins and mold. You don't have any heavy metals. You're getting good sleep. You're getting sunshine every night. Your diet is immaculate. Your gut comes up looking good. Your stress hormone panel is looking good. If all of that is looking good, and then you're still having a reaction, cool, great, listen to your body. But if it's not, cutting out foods that are documented as healthy, like broccoli, because it's giving you gas, is not accurate. It's not the correct conclusion. You've starved out the beneficial microbes that digest those healthy foods. So if you can't digest healthy foods, that's a gut issue, not a food issue. That's
so
not
don't blame it on the eggplant or the broccoli.
Right. So yeah, so I've heard a little bit about it. So to sum up that up is, if you're having some type of inflammation, yes, we might temporarily remove some inflammatory things, right? Okay. But that should never be permanent to where we're just like, I'm never going to eat those again. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because I sure do miss a little of that eggplant.
Do it. Have a little eggplant. You'll be all right. You're gonna be all right.
No, I've got a really healthy relationship with food, and I don't get all very dogmatic about it, or like, oh my God, I should never, I really feel now it's a process and it's been a journey, but I think part of it, you guys, is willing to try new things.
Yeah.
And I think for myself, foods that I never used to eat are now staples for me. And it just makes me smile and laugh. And I'm becoming, my wife's a foodie, so I'm becoming more of a foodie. I'll be honest, right? Hey, I mean, I'm not going to lie to you. I'm a straight up like crazy Virgo stellium. And, growing up as a child, I would have a lot of digestion issues. So I would only eat these like 5 or 6 things that, like, when I ate it, I had no problem. So like I wouldn't branch out and try. Like I just, my wife introduced me to okra and mushrooms and certain things. And I wouldn't eat that before. But now I'm like, oh my God, give me avocado all the time. And
I love it.
I love my cucumbers, and give me some okra and give me the mushrooms.
I love it.
And I remember the first time when I tried a mushroom burger to supplement, right? So we stopped eating the meat, and I was like, she's like, well, I'm going to make you a mushroom burger. And I'm like, a mushroom burger? What is that? And oh my God, it was so good. And I was just like, what? And she's like, yeah. And I was like, whoa, so you just got to be open and willing, you guys. You could be pleasantly surprised with so many different things out there. And like you were saying earlier, I mean, truth be told, we're kind of really a mixture, right, of omnivores and frutivores, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, I mean, we got to really kind of reimagine what is food.
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah, for sure. So, Kim and Sabali were asking about like powdered greens. So, I think
Oh,
that's a great question. Powdered greens are wonderful, but please know that powder can never replace your whole foods. So, if
yes.
you want powder to replace your actual leafy greens, no, absolutely not. No, 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 no. Supplement it if you want to add it to your smoothie, but your smoothie should be made of real whole produce items, actual, real, organic leafy greens from your garden or your grocery store or your farmer's market. And if you want to add in some powdered greens to that, great. I have some powdered greens. Great. Make sure you're reading the ingredients. There shouldn't be any gum. There shouldn't be any citric acid. There
Yeah.
shouldn't be any maltodextrin. There shouldn't be any weird words that aren't food. It should just say organic alfalfa, organic mushroom, organic whatever it is. It should just be food in there, nothing else.
Wow. This was so much fun.
Thank
You
you.
were just the best. And I love the energy. You guys, I will link the other episode because then you could hear about her,
Oh,
her
yeah.
bad girl days.
Oh,
You could hear
whatever.
about that in the first interview and
Listen. I don't lie
the
about it.
roller derby days. And
I don't lie about it. Listen, I
no,
did
no, no. I'm
drugs and
saying that I'm
alcohol
going to
all
link the
through my
first
20s.
episode and they'll get to hear a lot of the origin story. So you guys go back and watch that because it was
Absolutely.
really fun and a great interview as well. But
Yeah.
thank you for your wealth
You're
of
so
knowledge. Please
welcome.
share with the audience again.
Oh, yes.
How can people connect with
Of
Elizabeth
course,
Joseph
of
and
course.
Be More Raw?
Be More Raw. BeMoreRaw.com is going to link all my other places. Instagram at Be More Raw. So that's 3 words, not the letter BeMoreRaw. Be More Raw. That's it. That's how you want to find me on Facebook, on Instagram, on LinkedIn. Go to BeMoreRaw.com. You can book a free call with me and let's hang out. Yes, you're welcome, Kim.
I love it. I love
Thank
it.
you so much. I had so much
You
fun. I
guys,
love the live.
this,
I really
this,
like the live.
this is why it's called Knowledge is Love because she just poured a lot of love out on all of us. And some of the best love because I'm serious, you guys. I've told you about 2025, the
Mm,
lineup with these planets, the energy. We've got to be maniacal, intentional about our health.
I love it.
It's not a game out there. Unfortunately, we got some nefarious folks trying to create a lot of different, whatever viruses,
Mhm.
diseases. So you want to be on your health game. Very important for 25 and 26 and really forever. Okay. So read your list, your ingredients, be very
That's right.
intentional, and go check out Be More Raw. All
Thank
right.
you so much. You're welcome
This,
to Jazz Loves Blade. Thank you, Janice, Kim, Sabali. Thank all of you, Eric,
thank you guys.
Coffee
And
Co.
I will be back again for episode 304 this Thursday night, 8 p.m. Eastern.
Amazing.
We've got an herbalist. She's also a soap maker and a tarot card reader, Miss Paris
Woo!
Williams. She is really, yeah, she does it. And also an author. It's going to be a lot of fun. So I'll see you guys back Thursday night. And Elizabeth, thank you, my friend. You are always welcome. And I really appreciate you
Yay!
coming in
I
and
love
sharing
it.
your
I have so
wisdom,
much
your
fun.
knowledge, and just your beautiful Pisces energy.
Oh,
Because,
thank you.
you know, listen, I married a Pisces. My mother was a Pisces rising and a
Oh,
Pisces moon.
crazy.
And my North Node is in Pisces. So I'm just trying to become more like all y'all.
You need
which
us.
which is a whole nother realm of fun.
You need us.
Yes, I definitely do. I definitely
Thank you
do.
so much.
So, all right, you guys, everybody have a good evening and thank you. And please go follow and support and check out BeMoreRaw.com.